Hey everybody, welcome to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and here on my YouTube channel, and this time out, we're going to take a look and listen to the Century Tube Channel Strip by Universal Audio. This is fairly new, released by Universal Audio, and I am a big lover of channel strips. For people that have been following me for a while, you know I really love working with channel strips. So we're going to take a listen to this very unique channel strip. I'm going to give you a little bit of spec and a little bit of history on it, and we'll listen to it on a drum bus, some acoustic guitars, some bass, and some vocals to see what it sounds like. And if you have a UA rig, you can go out and demo it for 14 days for free. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button below. Also go out to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, get your 5 free mixing training courses worth about $110. It's my gift to you just for visiting HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Go there today. And if you want to learn the craft of mixing in a very non-technical way and join a community of like-minded individuals who are all trying to get better at the craft of mixing in music in our home studios, check out mixingmadeeasy.net. You can see the link over here and below in the description box. Check it out, mixingmadeeasy.net. So now let's head on in here into Studio One and let's take a listen. And we'll first take a look at the Century Tube Channel Strip. So this is a very, very cool plugin. I want to give you a little bit of spec on this so you can kind of know what we're dealing with here. So the Century Tube Channel Strip is has 3 different sections in it. We have a preamp section here on the left side. We have an equalizer section in the center towards the center, an opto compressor, and then an output section. So our the creation of this by Universal Audio is really to have, and was really more designed to do, although we're going to use it in the mixing stage, is really at the recording stage as part of their Unison technology. And for folks that don't have a Universal Audio rig and want to know what the Unison technology is and how that kind of works is, whenever you get a Universal Audio interface or interface, an Apollo interface of any kind, you are going to get a free piece of software called their console software. And I can bring that up here so you can see their console software. So here is their console software, and you can see my vocal is coming in on channel 4 here because I use a Universal Audio Apollo. And what's great about the Unison technology is you can put their plugins on the recording side, on the inserts of any channel, and you can record through these plugins into your DAW of choice. And what that allows you to do is emulate the way of recording through these old analog pieces of hardware in plugin format and getting the shape and the tonal characteristics of the sound that you're looking for at the recording stage. So it makes the mixing stage much, much easier. So for example, you'll see my voice again coming in here on channel number 4, David's vocals. And if you look here, I open this up, we have an SSL channel strip that I'm recording through. So all my videos, all my YouTube videos, and everything that you see on all my Made Easy products, all of my Quick Mix products, all of the live streams I do, I'm using this microphone, a Shure SM7B, and I am going through the Solid State Logic SSL 4000E channel strip with a little bit of compression and a little bit of EQ on my voice, and that is being printed to my video recording software, which in this case is ScreenFlow or Studio One or Final Cut Pro, whatever I'm recording with, or OBS when I'm doing live streams. So you can do the same thing with any of their channel strips, including the Century channel strip. So you would use this free piece of software, you put it in on the inserts of your channel that you're recording, guitar, vocals, what have you, and you can record through these channel strips. So that's really what this plugin I think was more designed for, is really the recording phase. However, you can use this in the mixing phase as well. And so I'll close that here. And so here's the Century channel strip. If you don't have a Universal Audio, or excuse me, an Apollo interface, you can have one of their satellite systems, one of their Thunderbolt or Firewire or USB systems, and you can mix with these plugins as well. Okay, so let's just take a walk through the layout of how this kind of works. So on the left side here, we have our tube preamp. This is a tube preamp with an opto compressor channel strip. So we have our low and we have our high setting here. Our low is going to be for more of a condenser mic, and our high is going to be more for a dynamic microphone. If you're using this in the recording stage, I just keep it on the low setting. Or excuse me, if you're using this in the mixing phase like we are here, we're just going to keep it on the low setting here. Underneath that, we have a series of switches here. We have a line and a mic level. Again, if you're recording through this, let's say vocals, you could put this on your mic level. If you're recording instruments, you'd put it more on your line level. During the mixing phase, we're going to keep it on our line level. We have a low cut filter here set at 80 Hertz, which we could turn on and off here. We have a polarity phase flip here. And then we also have a pad here as well. I believe it's when in the recording stage, it's not activated because I don't have it on as part of the Unison technology. So this is going to default being off, but I believe it's a 10 dB pad for when you're recording. We have our input level dial here with a little overload circuit LED. So the way this kind of works is the more you push the level, the more you're actually saturating the tubes on the preamp side. And the more you saturate, the more harmonic distortion and some coloration you're going to get as well. And we'll listen to that in a second. Next to that, we have a really simple semi-parametric EQ here. We have a 10K shelf here, plus or minus 12 dB. We have a mid-range plus or minus 12 dB here, going from 300 hertz to 7.2K. The more you increase the gain on the midband, the more the Q is going to widen, or excuse me, the more the Q is going to narrow. It starts off pretty broad, and the more that you push, the more that you increase that midband, it's going to narrow the Q. So it's kind of something under the hood that you don't need to worry about, but just be aware of it. And then again, we have a low shelf here at 110 hertz plus or minus 12 dB, and you can turn on and off the EQ with this little toggle switch here. Next to that, we have our opto style compressor, and this is more like an LA2A-ish style, if you will. Very clean, very transparent. We can turn it on and off here, and we have this big compression knob. So the compression knob, if you have an LA2A, think of that as your peak reduction knob, and this has an auto makeup gain. So the more you compress, the more it's going to go ahead and make up that auto gain for you, so you don't need to worry about that. So it's really simple to use. A one knob compressor, real simple, real great sounding. And then finally, we have our output section here on the master section, and you can turn the plugin on and off by doing this, or you can use the bypass switch like on all the plugins up here in the top left-hand corner. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything as far as nope, got all the notes here. All right, perfect. Got it all in one try. Excellent. Okay, so let me put my headphones on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to this on some drums. I'm going to close this for a second here. We have a completely unmixed song here, which is the way I like to demo these plugins, when everything is completely unmixed with no other processing, so you can really hear what the plugin is doing. Obviously, if you use this plugin in conjunction with the rest of your plugins to do your final shaping, it's gonna have a much more dramatic effect, but I want you to really hear what the plugin is doing and not being masked by any of the other processing that's going on. So again, you can see there are no plugins anywhere on this session, okay? So down here on our buses, I just did this on the buses to make it simple. We have a drum bus, a bass bus, acoustic guitars, keyboards, and lead vocals. And that's what we're going to listen to it on. So for now, let's listen to this on our drum bus. So we're going to turn this off here. I'm just going to bypass it up here in the top left-hand corner. So here's what our drums kind of sound like, completely unprocessed and raw. Okay. Now I'm just going to turn it on here, and I'll show you what settings that I used. Before, after. Okay, so if you can see here, we're using the low setting on the input side. You can see that we're not using any of the toggle switches here. We're on the line setting. We're not using the low cut filter at all here because I don't want to roll it off below 80 hertz. That's going to kind of get rid of that kick drum. And on the tube side, or on the level, you can see I'm pushing it to where the LED is kind of flashing on and off, kind of saturating the tubes a little bit. If I demonstrate how this kind of works. You can hear the more you turn it up, the more distortion you're going to get because you're really saturating the tubes. And then what you would do is turn down the output to compensate. Okay, it's a little too much. We're going to back it off here. Okay, so now here in the center on our EQ setting, 10K, I boosted up a couple of dB, again, because I'm not processing any of the singular drum tracks, so I thought it was a good idea to go ahead and to at least process a little bit of top end here. Right around the 400 hertz mark or so, I rolled off a couple of dB to get rid of some of the boxiness, left the low shelf in, no problem. On the compressor, you can see I'm compressing about, 2 to 3 dB? Not even a couple of dB. Okay. And then the output just using to compensate for the volume gain for when I'm pushing the input up, turning up the volume, turning it down with the output to kind of level match the plugin. And we could do that just by bypassing it to check that. It's before, after. Very clean sounding, very transparent, very open, but at the same time has a great sonic upper mid-range tone to it that I like here. Not a ton of color unless you really push the input side, but just enough to just make everything sound just better, more polished. Okay, so that's on drums. So now let's listen to some bass here. I'll mute the drums here. Okay, here's our bass. Make sure I'm just getting this routed correctly. These two tracks here. There we go. Okay, so we're pushing the input a little bit more. Get a little bit of hair on that bass. It's before. After. You can see we're compressing quite a bit here because the more you push the input, the more you're pushing into the compress. So we're going to turn down some of the compression a little bit. Okay, on the EQ side, we're leaving the 10K shelf alone. Again, right around 1K, a little bit of a boost to hear a little bit more of the fingers there, and then leaving the low shelf alone. So once again, before, compressing about 5 dB. Again, and we'll turn this down a little to compensate. Try to level match it. Okay, a little bit more subtle sounding on bass. Let's now listen to the acoustic guitars, and then we'll listen to them all as kind of a band here, and we'll turn them on and off together. But I want you to hear the individual tracks. It's before. After. Okay, so on this one, I'm using the low cut filter here at 80 Hertz, turning up the level a little bit, not clipping the light at all, because I really don't want any distortion on this, but just to warm it up a little bit. 10K added a few dB here, maybe 3 dB on 10K to get a little bit of top end. Took a little bit out at 300, maybe a dB or so, and then left the 110 Hertz alone. Wanted to get our compressor about 5 dB or so. After. Very musical sounding, not overly hyped. Sounds really, really good. Now let's also take a listen to the lead vocal here. Okay, we'll mute this one a little bit. And here we go. Here's our lead vocal. So on the lead vocal, again, using the low cut filter at 80 Hertz, pushing the level a little bit, not too much. 10K added about 3-4 dB, took a little out at 300, and then you'll see the compression here.
Tell the little ones that we're all living in a sideways place. Oh, please, please resist the violence.
That's before.
Lurking in your skin. Let it cut until it bleeds out grace. 'Cause everyone feels alone.
This is before.
I'm reaching out for someone. I'm reaching out for you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Actually turn up the output a little.
I'm reaching out for someone. I am reaching out for you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey.
Compressor really helps sustain that and holds that last note nice and tight. Okay, so now let's listen to it across all these tracks here. So we have our drums, our bass, our acoustic guitars. Oh, I didn't listen to it on keyboards. Let's listen to it on keyboards quickly, just so you can kind of hear what that's doing. Here is our keyboards, which consists of a B3 organ and a piano and a Wurlitzer all going to one bus. So this is just working on all those tracks together, not individually. So again, low setting on the preamp. We can use our 80 Hertz low cut. We're pushing the preamp quite a bit. Little bit of a bump here at 10K. Took a little bit out at about 500. This is with the plugin, without it. With it. Okay, so now that we've heard everything individually, let's listen to our band here.
Isn't it so wonderful? Everybody needs somebody else.
Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn them all on and all off together just by turning off all the inserts. So we'll start with them on, and then we'll take it away, toggle back and forth. You can hear the overall effect, or the cumulative effect, of having, what are these, 5 of these instances just on the buses.
Hey! Someone tell the mothers to tell the little ones that we're all living in a sideways place. Please, please resist the violence lurking in your skin. Let it cut until it bleeds out grace. 'Cause everyone feels alone. I'm reaching out for someone. I'm reaching out for you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, so there you go. So that's what we have as far as putting it across 5 instances. And again, we're not doing any other processing on the rest of the tracks. These are just the raw tracks. So a good way to use this in mixing would be to put this across all your channels as a channel strip, like you would with an SSL or an EVA or anything else, and process it that way. What I love about this channel strip, different from the other channel strips that I own, and I own them all, you know, from all the different companies, is that this is very unique. It's very simple in its design. There's not a lot of controls. You don't have a ton of flexibility. And that's why it was really, I think, more created in mind for the recording aspect, where you're not doing a lot of heavy EQ. You're not doing a lot of heavy compression. You just want to shape the sound and compress it a little bit on the way into the DAW. So if you're someone that does a lot of recording with an Apollo interface, this is awesome to record through, because you get a nice solid foundation of tracks. And then when you bring it into mixing, things are already kind of pre-mixed, if you will, and you're balancing your levels and you're throwing some other seasoning in the soup, so to speak. But if you're not doing recording, you're just using this for mixing, again, if you have tracks that are well recorded, which in this particular instance they are, you don't need a ton of surgical tools to make them sound good. They already sound good on their own. So this just shapes them very nicely, and it has a nice musical open sound to this. And again, from taking it from me, from someone who uses lots of channel strips, this sounds completely different than a Neve, completely different than an SSL or an API or any of these other channel strips. And that's what's great, because when you have a lot of different channel strip plugins like I do, and you like to use channel strips like I do, you can really change the whole sonic characteristic of your mix drastically by the desk or channel strip that you use. And that's why I'm a big fan of channel strips, because it really gives a cohesive sound to the entire mix when you use these across all your tracks. You get that, in this case, the Century Tube sound when you put them on all your tracks, which is really cool. So again, if you're a Universal Audio owner, go out, check this out, demo it for 14 days. I think as of the recording of this video, this is a $200 plugin or so, and they're always giving coupons over at Universal Audio. As you can see, I'm demoing this. I haven't purchased it yet, but I think I have a $75 coupon, and I might use it to actually pick this up, because I do like it. And as I said, I love channel strips. So thank you very much for joining me and taking a look and a listen to the Century Tube channel strip by Universal Audio. For more videos like these, please hit that notification bell so you'll know when I'm posting new content. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, follow me on social media. And again, if you haven't done so already, go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I have an enormous amount of training on all things mixing, recording, mastering, the home studio business, and so much more. And you get 5 free courses just for checking out my website. So go check it out. And again, if you want to dive down deep into the craft of mixing, go to mixingmadeeasy.net. And until the next video, I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys all soon. Take care.